Hey podcast listeners, my name is Alison.
And I'm Chelsea. Welcome to our weekly episode of the Graduate Podcast.
A podcast that inspires young adults to embrace and flourish through the many facets of life.
We look forward to sharing our craziest stories since moving to opposite ends of the country. We got some juicy relationship details here, some professional tips there, and so much more lined up for you.
Right. We want to remind you in the beauty of your transformation as you graduate through life.
With that being said, let's jump right into it.
The Graduate Podcast starts now. Hey y'all, it is your girl Alison. I am not okay right now and I kind of just want to vent. I really want to educate y'all, talk to y'all, interact with y'all. I want y'all to, before we even jump into this, do me a favor. Go ahead and follow our Instagram at The Graduate Podcast. And do me a favor and follow me as well. I want to have conversations with y'all. And yeah, I really want to use this platform as a way to really stir up some more conversations with y'all. So, without further ado, the topic of what's really heavy on my heart is the fact that yesterday evening, a 46-year-old black male named George Floyd died in the hands of 4 police officers who pinned him down. One of them sat with his knee in the back of George Floyd's neck until he finally lost consciousness, letting them know that he could not breathe, letting him know that he was hurting. Y'all, I really hope that everyone who is listening to this has seen at least 20 posts acknowledging this man who just lost his life. And I really want to talk about that because it is very, very serious. It is as serious as it gets, and it is disturbing. So let's talk about the facts before I jump into how we can progress and what we can do moving forward. I want to really bring to light the fact that in the police report against this man, officers by the name of Derek Chauvin, and I really don't care if I'm butchering their names, Thomas Lane, Tao, and J. Alexander Quang, they lied on this man. Not only did they lie, but there's surveillance cameras showing that George Floyd was 100% compliant. Let's backtrack just a second more. The reason why this man was detained in the first place is because after going to the grocery store in the midst of this coronavirus pandemic, the grocery store clerk called the police on him, claiming that he wrote a bad check. I mean, before we even talk about the death of an innocent and unarmed black man in America, and I say that so heavily because it happens so often. Before we jump into the topic of that, let's just talk about writing a bad check. Like, at the very basic foundation of it all, we are in the midst of a pandemic. So I'm not sure if the check was faulty or not, nor do I care. I think it's very important to acknowledge that we're in hard times, and so whether or not that's the case, I don't think that warrants the death of a man, an innocent man. And we can try to dabble around the big factor, which is race, but I'm not sure. Y'all probably should just follow me on Twitter, because I feel like I have a pretty incredible group of people that I follow, especially people that I went to school with who are very, very eloquent in really talking about what goes on in the United States. And I say that all to say, like, it's not just a black man who was, killed after getting his neck crunched on by a police officer who sat on his neck for over 7 minutes until he lost consciousness. This is also about Ahmaud Arbery, who was in Georgia going for a run when a white nationalist and his son and another bystander recorded it. This is also about Breonna Taylor, an EMT who was murdered in her home in Texas. She was shot 8 times after the police entered her house without even announcing who it was. This is about the man who was in Central Park, New York, bird watching. And he asked a lady to leash her dog, and she threatened to, or not even she threatened, but she used her privilege as a white woman to say, I'm going to call the police and tell them that an African American man is threatening me. This is about the 3 young entrepreneurs who were using a gym in a building that they pay rent for, and a white man demanding that they identify themselves, demanding that they show him their keys to enter the building, demanding that they explain who they are and why they're there. This is a common trend, and it is so disheartening for me. I feel like my boyfriend, my brother, my cousins, my uncles, my friends, we all have that commonality where we're brown, and for whatever reason, which we all know what the reason is, we're all deemed bad. We're all deemed unsafe. We're all deemed angry. We're all deemed violent. And so as a result, we're treated violently and aggressively and unfairly and unjustly. And I don't want to get it twisted. I'm not an activist. I don't devote my life to this, but this is something that I believe in. And so therefore I'm going to stand by it. And because I believe in this, because I believe in Black Lives Matter, because I believe that my people are being treated unfairly, I'm going to bring it to light. And so I really just want to educate y'all on that, because this is just not sitting right with me. And it really makes me uncomfortable to see how common and how frequent this is happening. Especially just like if we just want to talk about this quarantine period starting late February until now, which we're at the end of May going into June. This is 3 months long where my people seem to be getting targeted. On this podcast, I want to be very clear that Chelsea and I are going to speak about a lot of things. We're going to get very personal. We're going to talk about things that make us uncomfortable. We're going to talk about things that are taboo. We're going to talk about growth. We're going to talk about finances. We're going to talk about friendships. We're going to talk about relationships. But I think it's also very important that we also touch on what is going on in the world, especially when it's things that affect us and really can hinder the way people operate for the rest of their lives. You know, we live in a day and age where, I mean, I guess it's both fortunate and unfortunate that social media usage is at an all-time high, and that a lot of us feel like our only defense is our phone. Our only defense is recording something so that the facts are made clear, so that the facts are made known, and so that anyone else who watches all these different platforms and all these clips, they can know what the truth is. And it's so sad that has to be a thing. You know, like even during, I personally cannot bring myself to watch a video of the death of another person, black, white, blue, purple, man, woman, old, young. I cannot watch a video of the death of another person. It just doesn't sit right with me. It makes me very uncomfortable. I just know too many people who fit that image, and to even imagine that happening to people that I really love, I just can't. So with that, I really want to urge you all to really be sensitive about what you are posting. I had a very interesting debate with one of my boyfriend's friends who believes that we should continue posting these videos, that we should continue to make it known what's happening, because we can let people know what's going on, but sometimes the best way to make it real for them is to show them. But I think for me personally, because I live it, because I've experienced derogatory comments based on my ethnicity, based on what I look like, I relate too much and I don't want to see it. So that's just me personally. But like how can the bystander who recorded the infamous video of the death of George Floyd they made it known to the police officer that they were recording, and they didn't let up. I'm very, very thankful that the FBI has stepped in and are investigating, and hopefully they bring justice to this situation. I'm very, very glad that the 4 officers that I listed earlier have all been fired from their job. I'm very, very thankful that they're not on a paid administrative leave, as we have seen in countless cases before. I'm very thankful that in the case of George Floyd, we seem to be going in the right direction, but I can't talk about just that. I have to talk about it all. I have to talk about all the inequalities that Black and brown people are facing and have been facing since the United States of America was colonized. Like, even indigenous Native Americans, they are marginalized. Asian Americans, marginalized. It's not just people who look like me, but I feel like that just so happens to be the people who, at least on my Twitter feed and my Instagram feed, are experiencing it the most. I really don't want to hold y'all up for too long, because this is just a very impromptu vent session for me, but I do want to, continue the conversation. So what can you do? What can we do? What can we possibly do in a racist America, or when people are being overtly racist? How do we handle that? Well, I think number 1 is continue protesting, continue speaking up. It's crazy because after the death of this man, and after his videos have been blasted all over TVs and phones and computers, people are protesting, and even so, those protesters are being retaliated against by police officers throwing tear gas at protesters. When just, 2 weeks ago, there was white protesters protesting a pandemic, protesting a virus, protesting preventative measures in place to save lives, because in America, there's over 100,000 coronavirus deaths, because they want to get haircuts, because they want to get their nails done, because they want to visit family, and somehow they're unable to sympathize with the 100,000 deaths in the United States. It almost seems like they're unfazed, as if they can't sympathize, as if they can't feel for their barbers, their nail technicians, the lifeguards at beaches that they want to open up. That it's just not right. It does not sit right with me. It does not sit well with me. And so that's why I'm saying it's important to continue protesting. I heard this young man that I follow on Instagram say the other day, if you're not willing to die about it, don't even say it. And, that it's pretty extreme, but it's pretty extreme. You feel me? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I'm getting choked up even thinking about it, because this literally could have been any of us. If you're a female, this could have been your dad, your brother, your cousin. If you're a young man listening to this could have been you. This could have been your friend, your sister, your mother. This could have been somebody that you care about. And, if you're, I don't know, it's just so important that, we continue to speak up and be relentless about it. Although our people are treated differently when we express our outrage, that doesn't mean you should stop. Really, to me, that means we should keep going. As I'm scrolling down my Twitter feed and my Instagram feed, it's always funny because you always come across that one overtly racist individual who comments back, oh, one less bad body on the street, or one less, whatever. And it's intimidation. Honestly, I feel like that's exactly what it is. It's intimidation. It's very intimidating to see a group of people become educated and begin speaking up for themselves, speaking up against what is right and what's wrong, speaking up about what they believe in, willing to go to jail about it, willing to get mace sprayed in their face about it, willing to be in the midst of tear gas about it, willing to die about it. That's powerful. So I want you all to realize, you're young, but harness what you have. Like, understand that you are very intelligent. You are very capable. So don't be ignorant. Don't be oblivious. Speak up. Use your voice. I think another way that we all can really stay strong in the midst of all this is to aside from using your voice, use your art, use your creativity. Whatever God ordained gift you have, whatever talents you have, whatever platform you hold, use it to speak up and to speak truth, to speak light on situations that make you uncomfortable, to encourage others around you, to support others around you. If you follow my social media, I support anyone and everything, so long as it aligns with my beliefs. If I have a friend who is doing any type of business, I support them. And so if you use what you have now, just imagine how much you can elevate and grow from that. This is called the Graduate Podcast. We talk about education, we talk about a lot of things, but graduating is about elevating through life, becoming the best version of yourself. There's so many ways to graduate through life, and speaking up, I think, is integral. Very, very, very important. So I'm going to just go ahead and wrap it up like that, but I pray that you all are blessed. I pray that you all are safe. I pray that you all are a little bit uncomfortable and a little bit shook. I hope that you all are able to take something from this and to be confident in your voice, to be confident in who you are, to be confident in what you believe in, because this isn't the first, and it's definitely not the last time that something like this is going to happen, and it's happening daily. So y'all just continue to stay encouraged, continue to uplift the people who are mourning. Just send me some heart, send me some love, because I'm uncomfortable. It just makes me nervous. So, continue to uplift those around you. Continue to uplift those who are hurting. Continue to support friends who are grinding. Continue to make space for conversations. Continue to speak up. Continue to walk in your passion. Continue to walk in your beliefs. Continue to be fearless. So that is all I have for y'all today. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope that you all have an amazing rest of your day. All right, bye-bye.